Welcome back to the Founders Deep Dive, where we're literally diving deep into the lives of the founders, specifically those who are leading the fight against gender-based violence in very many ways. And this is happening courtesy of Sauti Kenya Leadership and Advocacy program, which is an amazing partnership between Ushindi Empowerment Group and the Canada Fund for Local Initiatives. I have an amazing woman right next to me, and I would ask her to introduce herself and introduce her organization.
Hello, everyone. My name is Consolata Waithaka. I am the founder of Women's Hope Kenya.
Okay. Tell us a little bit more about Women's Hope Kenya.
Women's Hope is an organization that I founded in the year 2010. And it's all about bringing women, the vulnerable women, and kind of uplifting them, especially on economic empowerment.
You said 2010?
2010.
Wow, you've been in business for a minute, yeah?
Yeah.
And how has it been so far?
It has been those ones of ups and downs, but we have been hanging on. We have seen so many women lives changed positively. We have impacted over 1,500 women. Those ones who come to our rescue center, those ones that are through the journey, we pick them up and they learn different skills. And through these skills, they're able to feed their families. Yes.
Okay. And what's the location?
We are in Kajiado. Yeah, we have been actually in Karen over maybe for 10 years, but due to challenges of finances and funding, we had to scale down our rescue center. And now we have, we are building, actually, we did a groundbreaking last year. We are building a rescue center and a vocational training center in Kajiado, whereby we hope to have a capacity of 100 women. And basically ours is more of transitioning these women, because we have realized when women come to our shelter, they come with their children, like especially when we were in Karen, it was a beautiful place. And when they stay there, they are so much kind of comfortable. And when you ask them, what do you do? Most of them, they'll be like, I have no skill. So we have realized basically to end, not to eliminate and kind of prevent gender-based violence, we need to give skills to these women. And that's what actually we are focusing on most of our energies on. Yes.
And what sort of skills have you been able to empower the women with so far?
We have been doing skills like home care management, first like this mama fua, they will walk long distances looking for jobs. Yeah. So most of them, they can just do the mama fua, just to wash and go. So what we have we are scaling up these women is to have that the skill that they can be able to make a bed, they can be able to use electrical machines. When they come to my house, I don't just have to throw clothes outside. They can come in, they use them electrical machines. So that's what we have been doing, especially around home care. We have been training these women to take care of the old people, the sick people, the children as caregivers. And we are doing this through NITA trainings. We have NITA trainers who take these women holistically. When I give you a home care manager or a caregiver, is someone who can, you are assured that this person will take care of your, or whatever you have at home, and the children, the machines, if you have any electrical. Yes.
They're able to maneuver around that.
Yes. And also we are doing beauty industry. We are showing them makeup, how to do makeup. There are those ones who come with different skills, the passion. There are those ones who are doing beautiful weaves. I'm happy that most of the people are supporting us also to buy from these women, because basically when we train them, we give them now the business idea that they can be able to run with it and start on their own now. Yes.
So, and what are some of the ways that you're able to finance all these amazing skills that you're equipping them with?
Basically, most of the stuff we do, we make from the wigs, the soap, the soft, Star Soft. We make Dettol, we make different things, and we're able to sell to the community. And through that, we're able to earn something to sustain. And also, when you pick a girl, there's that commission you pay from us. And then the girl is also, when we connect girls to like now a monthly job, they pay a monthly salary, but it is done in months. as according to how the agreement. If the salary is 10,000, over a year she'll pay that money, but pole. Also, we are giving the ownership. You don't feel like you are just given,
Yes.
With that, you pride yourself that I'm able to also take care of myself, and I'm having this job, and I'm also equipping another girl, because through this money, we are able to train more girls. Yes.
Okay, that's very lovely.
Thank you.
So what inspired the beginning of Women's Hope?
It has been a long journey since childhood. That one, you grow up seeing a lot of gender-based violence. And I'm like, I remember telling people, even my family members, they hate to hear this. But to me, I am one of those people who grew up with trauma, seeing a lot of gender-based violence around the community. And most of the time you go out and what you hear is Mayoye, so-and-so has been cut off the head. And I remember there were nuns who came to our school. I was in class 6. And these nuns, they talked about vocational. They were coming to look for girls who can be interested to join a convent. I was so happy, and I thought, oh my God, I'll never be killed. I'll never be slapped. This is it. And I got my call there and there.
Okay.
So when I went home, all I could do is even tie my kitamba like a nun, and everyone used to call me Sister Consolata. Oh my God, that was so fulfilling. So by this time, I'm happy my dad had changed. He used to that one. And so he encouraged me to become a nun. He was a catechist. And I remember over time, when we closed school, I could go to convent. I have come to almost convents in Karen. And going to Form 1, I still was coming to Karen, to other various congregations, so that I'll be able to know which one I fit in. I remember I started in Kasarani, home for the aged people, and I couldn't handle, the real sick and what. I am over compassionate. I'll keep on crying with this sick person. So the nun there brought me to Karen. That was now when I completed Form 4.
Okay.
Because I remember in Form 2, I was telling my dad, I don't think there's need of completing my education. Why? Because I know I've seen nuns who brought flyers saying even in Form 2 you can join convent. So I remember my dad telling me the only thing you can get from me is education. Kindly complete. When you get your certificate like this, you can decide on what you want to do with your life. So that's how I came to 3 Lane. After Karen Shopping Center. Yes, I was there for a few years there, and all this journey is because of the trauma. And I remember sister there telling me, the formator, Consolata, I don't think you have a call.
Really? After you have worked all through?
That is not the problem. Where do you want me to go? To be married? And sister is telling me, the issue is not to have worked through or what. She is telling me, I look at you, Consolata, as a good mother. Someone who can be a good mother, a good wife. And to me, my head knows the only thing I've had in life is men killing women, gender-based violence, all what I could think of. I remember crying and I'm like, oh God, But sister told me, just go, complete courage, then you can come back. If you come well and good. I remember I went to DOD just here. I went to DOD to stay with another friend. She was a teacher at St. Mary's, so we used to meet. My friend, when I went there, I saw gender-based violence with my eyes like this. This soldier person, the army guy, used to, when he closed the bedroom, the kid would start crying, please, Dad, you see where my mom, don't kill my mom, she'll cry. And I remember, kumbe, it's something which was ongoing. Because when I was there twice, we went back to their mother. The last time I witnessed the worst is when this woman is like 8 months pregnant. This guy puts on the iron box, steamer, then burns this lady. Stomach. I remember going to see her in hospital, Bagathi, that Hamid hospital memorial. And I'm like, enough is, let me go back home. The one, I didn't want to go back to the village. Because I remember I used to go to the village and everyone knew this is a nun. So how we write a community, I'm no longer a nun. But when I witnessed this, I said, I had not to Canada one in my home. So I went back, and my dad, of course, to go back to college, finished. Well, after that, I completed. I was employed in a place called CASNEB. It is for accounting body. and then I worked there for 12 years. In my head, I'm like, there's still unfinished business. And this is, I really want to start an organization because there are so many other women, there are so many women going through gender-based violence. And I remember when I was still at work, I started a magazine called, it is Woman So, but it was to tell stories. I'm happy now it is digital things, TikTok and all these things. That time, all what could come into my mind, it's how can we do a magazine that will talk about these stories of women going through gender-based violence. And we did actually for 3 years, but I'm like, we don't need stories. What we need is to have a rescue center, because I remember we were called to do a story in a women's hospital. And who do we get here? An 11-year-old girl with a big bandage. She's been asked, do you want the baby? None. Yes, I want. Ma, I don't want. You know that confusion. Yeah. An 11-year-old girl, what does she know? So I remember going home and I was telling my husband, why can I bring this girl home? Because she's almost been discharged and she's all the way from Nyeri. And because Citizen had covered that story, you could see their house was like a madhouse. It was almost collapsing. The teacher is the one who had violated this girl. And the guy, the father, took 3,000 and drank it all. So I was telling my husband, can I take this? Can I bring her home? At least she recovers. But my husband, no. So I knew this fight is kind of mine around. So what do? I started thinking, where can I get a shelter? Something, at least a small place, that when we get such cases, we're able to. So that's how the journey of now shelter started, because of that story. I'm like, how many other girls are going through, or women are going through this kind of cases? Yeah. And then back of my mind, I knew how women could just, you are beaten, you have nowhere to run to, because your mother will tell you, don't come back home. Really, we use this what we know. Oh, generational things. Yes. Tulichapa na tukavumilia. Just utaenda hospitali, ufungwe wherever, just go back. So that's when I was like, we really need to support women who are going through gender-based violence. And here I am since 2006, and now today we are learning about maturity, stagnation, aging, and death. So we are like, why is the organization hoping it is aging time, but it's the one you are like a snake. You remove that skin and you are like, I have to renew my strength, and then re-strategize, refocus, innovation. And what we are doing with innovation to kind of now and reveal that energy of woman. So what we have been seeing is so many women, when they come to the rescue center, or many other women, you hear them going through stuff, especially the slum women, the vulnerable women. Most of them, of course, they will say they have nothing to do, and they just need direction. So I realized how many, when you're going out, you see so many women are gated community, others walking around. What is it? Natafuta kibarua. In my head, I'm like, now I had told you earlier, we had been doing trainings with Lions Denmark. Yes. We have been doing, we have impacted over 500 women through now the skill training of caregivers and home care. And I'm like, okay, we have done training. And so what? What's next? They are still with their certificate. So I'm still with the problem, because they will call me Mom 2. They call me Mom 2. Mom 2, ulituambia kazi iko wapi? Mimi nimetrain, nimemaliza, why is job? So imagine, you don't sleep with this kind of work. So I'm like, one time I'm sleeping, I'm like, oh, here it's this innovation thing. And I saw something like, how can we bring this client? Because most of the clients in Karen, you ask me, I hear you train, can you give me a girl? I'm like, how can we connect these women and to the client, both? So that's how I came up with a product called Connector. Connector will be a digital platform where we'll be getting now, actually it is almost through, where we'll be getting now a platform where if I need you need a house girl, you need a nanny, ama your nanny has disappeared, whatever, like as when we are bringing up our children, by the time atoke ushago to Nairobi is chaotic, and you have to report to work tomorrow.
Yeah.
So now we are bringing this digital, it's like Uber, that if I need someone to take care of my baby, I'll go to connect her. You look at, we have done due diligence. We have, you'll have a star. Our girls the women will have a star. And all this is to ensure these women do not have to walk from Kawangware to come to Karen.
Yes.
And you hear that's from Karen to Ravington. We are doing an app within the radius of wherever someone stays, within the radius of even this goited community. So that is our latest product. And I feel like we are going to not to sort it all, but it's giving a lot of women hope that if I can be at my house and I get this call, and then when I go to that job, I just do it well, I'll get a star. The many stars you get, people will be getting. Within 2 months, people start scheduling someone. As long as you do it well. Yes.
And if you do it well, you might even get someone who keeps you permanently.
Exactly. And that's how most of our women, the ones now we have been able to attach, they are those ones who started that kibarua like 2-3 days per week. Then someone say, if I don't take this one, she'll be taken by someone else. So they prefer, okay, let us do monthly.
Okay.
Yes.
That's so innovative. And I don't think there's something of the sort in the market. Yes. I've seen people do it with maybe, there's one for plumbers fixing things. I've seen the type, but I've not seen one for...
I'm happy we did a kind of accelerator competition. Okay. And I'm one of, I think we are like 10 organizations that were picked by JICA and Growth Africa. I think you hear them. It's the competition is about the products that is aiding gender-based violence. And so economically, people are having different kind of ideas, kind of innovations that will tap to these women and this gap. Because most of the women are looking for this, can you just give me that push? Yes, and then I'll rear my children. Because I'm telling people, why do I have to remain in a relationship where there's so much in a toxic relationship? My husband is like this, and I know. But most of the people say, because for me, if I live here, I cannot go to my parents who will take care of my children. But once this person is able to get a dignified wage, nobody is going to wait for death. In this marriage,
you can up
because
and
they are watoto. And I tell people, if you tell me you're staying in a relationship which is toxic because of your watoto, unawaumiza even more. You better leave because kids see so much and it will never leave their head. It's kind of film. Every day it's a film, something, a new, that film opening and recording, you're not getting anything to kind of wrap that. You cannot delete kids. So when someone tells me I'm just stuck here because of my kids, because rather I tell people, if you love your children and they see over and over you being beaten or being emotionally, most of these women, actually there's so much emotional violence. Utaitwa any word and the kids are there. Is it worth it? So, but when you economically empower these women, they are able to make their judgment. Because, by the way, we are not the one to give anyone any decision to making. You are told, now we have empowered you. If someone do 1, 2, 3, no, this is violating your rights. So you have the right to make your decision. But hatuwezi kukufuruta pale.
Okay, that's very... I'm happy to see that now, even, cases and situations like for gender-based violence are meeting technology. Because that's literally the next step we're taking in life. Okay. You have seen from 2010 to now, that's, a good number of years. I know you have seen much, you have had much.
Unaaguka, unaamuka, unafunga, unafungua, but something tells, I tell people, anyone you see in the space of working gender, any NGO, CBU, whatever in the community, my friend, if it's not passion, you cannot do even 5 years. If you are driven by money, you cannot do it because there's no money. There are people who start NGO because there's money. Then if they are lucky, because sometimes you get lucky and you kind of get a donor give you a 50 million. But my friend, there are people who come and fall because there's no money. And it's a lot of sacrifice. There's a lot of, you sacrifice a lot. Your emotion, there are those people, of course, we rescue people who come with a lot of entitlement.
Really?
The people you'll say anything, entitlement.
Wow.
Actually, that has been my burnout, because people speak all kind of things. You are doing your best to ensure the organization starts, whatever you believe in starts, but you'll find people talking behind your back. This one is just eating money, and there's nothing. As in, you are struggling literally to get money from your pocket. Even you cannot even go for holiday for what? To ensure that if there are survivors at the rescue center, they are able to feed. If there's any project you are doing is supposed to eat. And you find that your family cannot understand why you are saving money to do the project.
Yeah.
Yet on the other side, there are people also, they are like, hey, what is in for you?
Why are you doing all this work?
Exactly. But if you're doing for passion, I think for the last those years, if it was not for passion, the calling, the one that I was called to be a nun, so I translated this is the service I could be doing in the convent. Yes.
Okay. What are some of the stories that you have come across in the years that you've had Women's Hope that have, maybe changed your perspective or have stood out for you?
What has really stood up, maybe it's resilience, that whenever we are doing anything, basically sometimes I tell people working with community sometimes is not money, because you look for your friends. Like for me, I tell people I used to be almost going to 90-something kilos. And I started a run with our friends, my sister and other friends. We started a run called Sweat It Out for a Needy Cause. And the run, we could run and then contribute at least 200 that we are going to visit, buy pads, go talk to girls. In the community, when you're doing community work, you don't need to start thinking about millions and about money. And the time for, like now we are talking about digital, we are not now talking about how do I raise a house of 100 or whatever. Because advocacy, people really need advocacy, because if there are people, you can save their life by that creating awareness. Yes.
Okay. There's a lady who came before you and she mentioned how she was in let me call it an affluent neighborhood, sort of like the way you were in Karen. And the community people came together and told her, hey, you need to leave. This is not for this area.
During COVID, we had that one, because I had over 60 people, children. I mean, it's over 3/4 lad. I mean, there was big enough space. And kids could do football. There were so many boys. And you know what? People used to call OCS, remember this is Karen, and we usually love our space and sleeping.
We like silence.
So what you used to do on after lunch, you have to go and sleep. So our kids used to sleep, because people cannot understand. How can you even dream bring a rescue center in that kind of space? Then that's why we have gone to hide ourselves those sides of Kisamis, kunaitwa Kisam kona baridi huko. So we want to do our wellness center there. We want to do vocational training section. And when most of the parents come, women will come with their children, we are having an educational center whereby this kid, most of the mothers don't hear when they see my kid is not going to school. So the education center is kids are going through the school kaida every day. The mothers are doing different things, the counseling first, because you cannot tell this woman to start kushona nywele or what, and they have not healed. So work with them, they heal, then they go to vocational center. So that takes, like, when someone is living there, someone has a certificate and can start off their life.
And how long are they in the rescue center?
It's case by case. The people, like I remember most of the time we could get those people were coming for 6 months, 1 week. I remember one woman, the one who made me to think about Hope Beyond Scars. This is a woman, when I went to she came on Friday, I was not there. On Sunday, I was like, I'm going to fellowship with them. We used to have a very beautiful church, and a pastor was coming. That day, pastor was not coming, so she took over to talk to the women. So when I went there, we had there were so many women. They are over 50. She's the one. Kwamusha watu. It's a Sunday. We have to go to church. When we went to church, she's the one praying, praise and worship best. But later I wanted to hear her story. Oh my goodness. She was showing me her wood from here. The husband was burning. The husband met her when she was deep frying cassava. And by the time, imagine mafuta. he picked and threw the karai to her.
No.
She did like this. And then she chomekad here. She had the wounded. And she was the one encouraging other women. And I'm like, really? This is what Hope builds scars, that you have those scars and you can tell a story. And I'm happy now she's a pastor. And she stayed there for a week. For her, she came, she wanted the husband from hospital. She couldn't go home because the man could come, hang her coffee outside the door and said, and with a note, I'm still around and I need your head. So she had to be hidden somewhere. And then after that, she wanted to ensure the guy is in. So that now she has no time for sympathy. She wanted to go and do her business. And within a week, she left. Others will come because of comfort. The place is beautiful. You're not paying rent. You're not paying electricity. What is the hurry for? So there are those ones who stay,
Slightly longer.
So with the counselor, of course, we were able to know this one is sincere. We have counseling, and through the process of hearing, someone will be like, okay, wacha kai, because most of the women come in, they are so suicidal, so no, wacha kai too. So case by case. Okay. Yeah.
Wow. You're going through so many stories. Every day, every time there's a new case that has come.
Yes, and you really cry. We cry with them. Some stories are so sad, so touching. You cry together, and it's a space of so much going in the mind. Emotionally, some things affect you. Are like, how? I mean, can the world be this cruel? Yes.
Okay. And how? What number of people do you have in your team?
We are 3, but we are like total of 5, 6 volunteers now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So 3 full time.
Yeah, full time.
And then other volunteers come in and out.
Yeah.
That's a very good team. So where do you hope to see Women's Hope? You've mentioned a lot of plans, but what do you hope to see maybe in the next 3 to 5 years?
3 to 5 years, we have a very beautiful master plan of the transition wellness center. We are hoping, actually, now that we have started now the grounds and the foundation, we are hoping that within 3 years we'll be able to say yes, we are able to capacity build these women who have even know how. Some even don't. I feel like they don't know their rights. That you can be in a situation and you feel like it's okay because this is what happened to my mother, and this is what is still happening to So ours is to ensure that we are working these women, and within 3 years to have that beautiful place up and running, and yes.
Yeah, to have a whole all-rounded wellness center. That's nice because we've already begun. You mentioned the groundbreaking, so the project is underway. Okay, let's talk a bit about Sauti Kenya and the program you're currently undergoing. What inspired you to register, and how has the program been for you so far?
What encouraged me to register?
Yes, for the program you're currently in, the Sauti Kenya program.
What encouraged me? I would say I saw it. It was shared on our National Shelters Network, and I saw like it's a good opportunity, especially for networking. Like I'm happy for the last 15 years, whatever you are learning today, because I've gone to so many conferences. Actually, I was saying I'm enough for now for trainings. We need to push this was there. Sometimes you're like over and over conference, over and over workshop, but I'm finding this capacity building it's totally different from what I have been going to. I have attended, and I'm feeling like it is changing way of my thinking. Like I'm feeling like most of the things, like what I was saying, like a snake, though you peel out your snake and you start you feel like now you are
energized.
Yeah. So I'm feeling like it's a new turn of events and a new turn. Yes.
And what are you looking to achieve, or what are you looking to learn by the end of the program?
By the end of the program, I really need to be, especially for me, we are told that there are those three circles of mine. Sometimes I lose myself. I really need to understand. I also need to refill my cup. Sometimes that's what we really forget, that I really need to refill. And because sometimes it's draining and you have a lot of burnout, I feel like sometimes you give and you kinda you forget yourself. And for me, after this, I'll remember you have to start with it's like the aeroplane. You are told when, in case of any emergency, you start the oxygen with yourself.
Yes.
Otherwise, when you start with someone else, you'll die, both of you. So I need to, from today, learn that oxygen starts with me before I give another person oxygen. And also, I don't think, okay.
Yes, you need to constantly make sure that you're okay for you to be able to serve other
And you
people.
know, I was serious that I really needed to, I was planning for a wellness event. We were to go to Naivasha this weekend. It's only that issue, the charity of funding, that's where now the issues are. Because I had just thought about, imagine all these shelter managers, the founders, especially. I feel for myself inside there, for founders. You know, you can be a founder, you are having even the budget, and how you are part of that budget.
No.
You know, I mean, you are to pay rent, and the person giving you money is telling you, as you are not paying rent. So what will happen? See, that money you have to pay yourself is for rent.
Is what goes into rent.
And then when people tell you, if you have a rescue center, please don't tell us about rent. And I'm like, what? When you are thinking about the basic need of a human being is shelter, food and clothing. You tell me I should not allocate any coin for shelter. That is one of the needs, the basic needs.
One of the major needs.
One of the major needs. So when I hear that, I'm like, really, it's not making sense. So what happens? You draw whatever is needed. Then this money, which was supposed to be yours, will go to rent. You find yourself just. So this year, my 16 days of activism, what was in my mind is to take all these people, the survivors. I know the people who have been calling me over and over that I don't think I'm okay. What was in my mind is to go to Naivasha. There's already I wanted to do a boot camp there, and we were just to have a bonfire at night, telling our story. You know, that you have Zumba, you know, different activities. Within 3 days, by the time you are coming back to Nairobi, another whole year, you're okay.
Yeah.
So it didn't fail, but I'm hoping by one nikona excuse ya weather, so that one did it. I went to my flyer that postponed you for a woman's soup.
Okay.
So I had to post that one because I've been speaking to people. They are like, our wellness was not just to go to Naivasha. It was also a way of raising funds to build the wellness center. Okay. So I've just postponed the event for wellness, but for sure I feel like next year we are going with even Sauti. Yes, with that Mamoja there. It can be fun. Very possible also. And I'm telling you, it is the first event I have not heard of wellness boot camp outside. The way we say, we're not going for walls. We are just to do activities, outside. Team building. Then at night we have our bonfire. Can we have roasted meat there? Offer stories, and you leave all these, whatever you're that burnout. Yeah. By the time I come back to Nairobi, my friend, you are running like a young girl.
You're on fire for the next 1 year.
Yes. So that was my dream, to close the year. Unfortunately, because of the rains, it didn't happen. So January, it will happen.
Okay. I'm really enjoying this conversation because you're looking at things from a very different perspective. You've talked about how the digital space can contribute to, you know, reducing the cases of gender-based violence. You've talked about wellness in a very different way, because many people, when they think wellness, they think counseling. They think therapy. Exactly. They think, you know, sitting in silence. But you're talking about being out there, Zumba, the bonfire.
Be you self-care. How do I have that self-care stuff that when I jump like a young girl, by the time I'm sweating out with the activities, you know, you are unwinding or whatever the stress that have been building up, you know? Yeah.
Okay. I'm really enjoying this part of the conversation. That's very lovely. So, in the cases that you've seen or in the situations that you've seen, what can you advise me as a woman and any other person listening and is a woman or even a man in a situation, but they don't know how to pinpoint, I'm being abused here, or this is not what that should be happening. So what are some of those, markers or the situations or let's call them red flags that you have seen and can be identified?
I feel like sometimes it starts like something like even emotional violence. Sometimes like when we post things on Facebook, I read some, like there's a post actually I read, it was written by a woman. There was this girl, she was saying she's going through so much. I think the boyfriend has left her or something. Okay. And you know what? This lady answered that you don't have to leave someone because your husband is going with someone. You can know as long as this guy is taking care of you, you just sit there. Back of my mind, I was like, does this lady understand what is emotional violence? Does she understand? But anyway, I said, the comments you read, you are like, people really need to know. You don't have to see a red mark on someone's eye, a black eye. Emotional, when you look at so many people, and the reason I will go back to self-care and wellness, even if you want to go anywhere, like today we had that class of like, how do you take care of yourself, how do you do your self-care moment? Do you have your silent moment, the breathing, there's the way you breathe, because the emotional violence, it is what is killing most of the people, because people are just silent and having very beautiful smiles. Yet they know when they go home for 1 to 3 years, people have been in different rooms. I remember one man came to me and he was like, Consolata, he came to the center, and Consolata, he told me, Consolata, you are doing such an awesome good job. There were so many women. I'm like, why did you say that? Do you know, in my house, we pretend because of the children that we're okay, but we do not. Needed to kuja na no more stories. And he told me, from me, I've gone through so much of this, like, it's really now becoming, you wonder what to do. This woman does not want to talk to you. This, of course, I was like, this guy, I'm telling this guy, there's no woman who will come to you and just stop talking to you. There's something you did.
One morning she
There
decides.
is no way a lady will decide, today I'm not talking to you, Baba. Kuna kitu. And because I knew this guy, the way he could treat us, wherever in the space we were, because it was on rental, the way he was coming, bushy, I mean, the way he is bossy and what. At some point I'm like, wait a minute, are you sure you're not in my head? Yeah. Wait a minute, the way you treat people, I'm sure when you go home, that's the same way you treat you.
That's the same
and
behavior.
there are people who are aware. There's also someone who told me that why we are having a lot of these cases of femicide. I'm sorry. We are getting so much of girls who are so much aware of their human rights, but I think men are not ready to
have such conversations and accept
that girls can go out, they can have their fun, and men are feeling like their spaces is being occupied.
It feels like a threat.
And I'm feeling like these are young girls who are coming, another generation, like now my daughter, people call her feminist because she's so strongly like, protecting women. She does not want to hear. So they are becoming aware. So you cannot step on these girls and they will be like, we want to speak up. So I think, and it's so sad, this issue of femicide is really becoming too much. But I feel like telling men, when women become aware or they are empowered, when they speak up, it does not mean that you step on them to silence them, and this is their space, this is the generation, because this is not like the way we grew up in our mothers, and these are totally different generation, and they are very aware. Yes.
Okay. What's one case that you have worked on that has touched your heart or stood out, or you still remember to date?
Oh God, so many. There's this one case that is the saddest, I think. I think there are many. One lady, she came from, she was brought to our place, and she was like, for her, it's that one, or what is it? By the time you start discussing, she's down. What? Okay. With the counselor there. But later on, we realized she went outside the country. She had her 2 children. She went through a lot of gender-based violence. And one time she's like, enough is enough. I want to commit suicide. And she went to jump to a big river, those sites in Sweden. And she she threw the children, and now she was to jump. Kube, someone saw this lady. By the time she jumping, the kids wamerushwa, wameendanga. Nayo akafurutwa, sorry. So they died. So that case has been the hardest, because every time you talk to this lady, it was still, of course, she was to try to write them letters, just let them go, dada, but
it's heavy on her heart.
It's still very heavy, because she's like, every year she'll do birthday for them, they died. Another case is of a lady, she was brought by one of the partners. This lady, she came with very tiny kid. I'm like, please tell me it's you, the mother who has now been beaten. No, it is this baby. What? This baby is barely 6 months. What happened?
No, like a child. Okay.
A child. So actually this lady, she's from Kibera, and they went to, as the baby is sleeping, they will say, let me go look for Tungua up or Gotoe, because it's near. By the time she's coming back, the kid is crying loudly, and what is happening? And to go and check, she realized this girl is bleeding. And then she told the guy, can you go to hospital? She was taken to hospital. And when the nurse called her, the counselor called her to register dada, the man was outside. So it's like, the lady said, the nurse told her, this and this has happened. The lady said, I suspect yule ako pale nje. So luckily they called police and akashikwa. So that was the hardest, because I was like, really? We are told your dress my choice. So where was this dress? This a baby in Pampers.
6 months old.
I think it was even smaller, but that was really, there are the stories you hear at the rescue center, the women come in stories, then you break down together.
What are some of the success stories you've had?
We have, mostly what we normally do, especially during COVID, there were so many. Those want to fight. I feel like COVID brought up the emotions, whatever people are suppressing. And this time there were women with me, atasi kujua baba so and so can raise his voice, can do. So there are these ones you tell, the counselor will say, can you give me the number of them? They talk over they do online counseling and they go back. And nowadays they call me with their children. I'm a very big show in so many children. They'll call me and say, we are now happily together. So that moment of even having this, the phone conversation, and people call themselves a committee, like, oh, wait a minute. I think it's pressure kufungwa kwa nyumba pamoja.
Yes, because
24/7.
The biggest escape is uyu ameenda kazi. So normally you see each other for probably like 6 hours a day, because you're always outside, and now you're in the same space.
Imagine. And then you realize sometimes you have constraints of finances. Someone has been going either kibaru. You are locked there. You cannot go anywhere. So people are saying, for me, I've never seen this. My husband doing this. Hey, it cannot. So there was cases that were being sorted. And I'm happy I have numbers. A good number that you are able to say so and so went back to the husband and they are good.
Okay. You mentioned that you're a wife and you're a mother. Yes. So how are you able to balance, Women's Hope and Consolata, the wife, the mother? What is that balance like? Actually, that is also today's class, that you are told that, unfortunately, we are the last people we are being given a bucket and you have all these stones about the project, about me as a mother, about me as a wife, me about the director, the founder, and you have to take care of what community, church, all these are waiting for you. Sometimes that's how you get yourself like, oh God. Sometimes even me, sometimes I can be like this and I'm feeling like I'm letting the organization, but because you are feeling like there's so much you need to do, but you feel helpless. But today we are being told, what is priorities? What are your priorities? So as a mother, as a wife, as a grandmother too, I have I have a grandson. So in all these titles, it's just to ensure, sometimes it's overwhelming it's so overwhelming, especially. I'm happy that my husband and my family support me. And most of the time I'll be out dealing with the issues. Like I remember when we had now the real functional rescue center, you can have like 5 pregnant women. This one is going to my 2 a.m. You have calls.
So my husband will remind me, by the way, I'm not part of women's hope. I need my peace. I'm like, I'm hoping you would complain, that one. But you complain, then I'm like, now we have to deal with this, So sometimes money is being needed for hospital, those emergencies for the night.
Yeah.
But I think it has just taken the hand of God to be able to balance and to be where we are. And I'm having that supporting system, like my family, what matters most. Yeah.
Yes, they're able to hold your hand in the process.
And I peg my hope so much and my belief so much in God that whatever I'm doing, I'm not doing for myself, for my I'm doing for you, God. Yeah, that actually have been my major strength, that whatever I'm doing, it's not my own. Whatever I'm doing, my reward is there. Because I tell you, there are so many people, as I had mentioned, with a lot of that kind of entitlement.
Yes.
That if you listen to them, my friend, you're close. But sometimes I call myself a meeting and I'm like, I didn't start women's hope because of anyone. Even if I cannot do holistically 100%, I can talk at least of 95%. I can look at my life. I say, God, I've done this and I'm happy.
You've walked that journey.
I've worked with someone, and there are those people who appreciate. There are even young kids who tell their mother, can we call mom too, to say, that there's also a mother who gave birth and named the baby Consolata.
Wow.
So
those are some of the things that keep you going on a daily basis.
Yes.
Okay. And for someone who is in your space, the rescue space, and they're also handling the cases that you're handling, just share a little something with them to encourage them and, push them forward. Maybe they may not have the sense of community that you have. Maybe they don't have the family support that you have. Because a lot of the people I've also talked to have mentioned that it's a very lonely journey.
It is.
Yes.
I think as long as someone is feeling like this is the right space, that you are walking in the right direction, I think this is pegging in prayer and having that silent moment with God and calling up. I always invoke the power of the Holy Spirit whenever I'm dealing actually with any case, because I always say gender-based violence is kind of demonic space. You feel like there's that devil thing. So you really need to keep on praying for this, for whoever, even the survivors, for every moment you wake up to pray for the project, even to like for me, I would say over years, I cannot sit here and say that we have gotten grants to, especially for the rescue center. It's only that God sent me this person from Denmark. Now we have been doing the beautiful project for the trainings. Otherwise, it's a lonely journey that you feel over crazy ideas you have in the head, but you have nobody to tell you, we can do this, Yeah, but as long as someone you are inspired, what inspired you? We always go back to the drawing board. What made you? When I'm telling now someone who is like, okay, now I'm feeling, what inspired you to start?
Why are you doing what you're doing?
Yeah. And sometimes you are told to even see like another 20 years, because we tell God, I want to accomplish. We are told God will not come to this world. We are the hands and the legs for God, to work for Him, to see for Him, even to listen to those women and girls crying. We are there to listen. So it is Him to give us the power and the direction.
Okay. And last and very much not least, do you have anything that you'd like to add before we close? Something that you've learned over the years, a word of encouragement?
I think over the years, what I've realized actually is in this space, when you talk about, like, I'll still go back to what I think this was the most interesting training I've attended, because I've learned about 4Ds. Okay. Relationship. If I've learned about those relationship, execution, there were 4D. Relationship, execution, stability. Oh God. And anyway, for me, I was I have great ideas. And they'll sleep in that. Even in my books, my laptop, my ideas, I have a problem of now. If I can I wanted to talk about collaboration. Why if the 4Ds was coming? The strength there, because if people were, I don't know why this space people feel like I should walk alone, go to donors alone. Why are we fearing each other? If only like the way we have learned today about the 40s was the strength, that what you can do, I can't, your strength is not mine. Because there are people who are so good in relating.
Yes.
Other executions, others, I don't know, I'm forgetting other two. But it was so well demonstrated. And I look at it, I'm like, this was what you are supposed to do, collaborations. Because what you are good in, I'm not good at.
Yes.
So when you come together, do you know this loneliness? It cannot be found because what we are working in the space of ending gender-based violence, community service, economic empowerment. So why should we feel lonely in the journey? And I think when you talk in one voice, going to UN Women, going to wherever, it becomes easier.
And they hear you better.
But we feel like, let me work as my Consolata woman soap. You get Sauti Kenya, you get what? When we meet here, we have all the good ideas, but I've not heard people saying, by the way, I'm thinking where you are in your space, like now this space is somewhere we can do so much. Why can't people feel like, okay, this void, you Sauti Kenya, you woman, so you can feel and walk a journey. Because I tell people at the end of the day, NGO work, community work is not a competition.
Yes.
We should complement each other. Can we do synergizing our energy?
Okay. And if anyone wanted to reach you or Women's Hope, how can they be able to do that?
Yeah. We are on all the social medias, Facebook, we are Women's Hope Kenya, Instagram, we are Women's Hope KE. We also in LinkedIn, Women's Hope. And where else? Twitter.
Okay.
Yes.
Do you have maybe a number that can be reached?
Our number 0737 333 is the one even on Facebook. And the reason I really want to transition to digital, that phone of ours is like 24/7 people calling. And the app we are doing, the product will have a panic button. Anyone can go to that app, and if you feel like you are under threat, you lock yourself somewhere and you finya. And it always signal to the numbers you have put. Yes.
And they can be able to
get help. Yes.
Wow.
So that one at least will be able to handle more cases because every day we always have over 5 calls. This is Woman Soap. Dada, I'm having this problem of, I know a neighbor or a girl, people reporting. Yes.
Over 5 cases a day?
Yes.
That's a lot.
Imagine.
And that's only the ones you are getting.
Yeah. Those who go to, like someone who come to the website and say, I was looking for a rescue center. I've seen that you have. So I tell people we can connect you now to other places before we finish but we are still, that's why I'm saying collaboration. I don't have to have to just start now having another rescue center to kind of feel like I fit in. I felt like I'm not even withdrawing the number, let it be there, because us referring to people, because the presence or social media, actually it has really helped. Because you tell someone, give me the details, I'm forwarding this to the shelter network.
And they've been able to get the help through that.
Yes, we ensure we kind of follow up and know that this person through there, we even the way we work, I'm able to know, like I'll call directly to few like 5 rescue centers and someone will get help.
Okay.
Yes.
Sawa. Thank you so much for allowing me to interview you.
Thank you.
That has been our time. I'm looking forward to sitting down with you a couple of years from now.
Yeah.
Not even here, maybe in your wellness center, in your space.
That one, I pray God will be able to hold, because it is especially on the space of mental health. People need to go out and jump like babies. Yes. By the time they come back to Nairobi, now Rizana, do you remember? But already, if you had that car, something, you cry, dada. By the time you are coming, you're okay.
Refreshed.
Imagine. So I pray it will happen, and I believe it will happen.
Yes. Thank you so much, Ms. Consolata.
It was nice having me. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Asante.